JFD, just fair and direct.
Okay, hello and good morning everyone. Welcome to JFD Traders Espresso with me, Darius Anucauskas. Today's the 16th of November 2021. So yep, welcome everyone. Welcome to this Tuesday's morning session where we're going to have a very quick look at the markets, a few of the charts, the usual stuff basically. But before we do that, as always, let's quickly have a read through our risk disclaimer. So, the content we produce does not constitute investment advice or investment recommendation, should not be considered as such, and does not in any way constitute an invitation to acquire any financial instrument or product. As always, I'll give you a few seconds to read the rest and we can continue. Okay, so now then, also just before we jump into the charts, as always, quick mentioning of our JFD YouTube channel, to which you can always subscribe to in order not to miss any of our upcoming videos, and of course our JFD Bank website, and specifically our JFD research page, which is also updated on a daily basis. So you have check it out here on jfdbank.com and click on the research tab right there on the top. So now then, jumping into the charts, so the first one I want to pick up here is Nikkei 225. So the index did trade higher today at one point, but yeah, kind of then drifted back down, and yes, it stayed in positive territory, but it fell back below this 29,880 zone, the one that I talked about previously. So still the same kind of game plan remains. In order to go for some higher levels, I would like to see this one closing at least above that barrier in order to get a little bit more comfortable with higher levels. Shanghai Composite, very quickly on this one. So the index, it drifted lower, and well, it's currently still trading in the red. Don't get me wrong, I mean, still have a few around 50 something minutes left of trading on this one, but currently it's getting a slight nice little hold up here near this 3,515 territory, which I've mentioned before, although it got violated a few times, but it seems that sometimes it is actually still doing its job and providing support. So I'm going to keep an eye on that one for now. If you're looking for the upside, well, basically, I would like to see this one pushing back above this 3,553 territory, which, as you can see, did again act as a good area of resistance. So yep, a nice good pop above it. Yep, may open the door towards higher levels. German index DAX, and yeah, this index pushed higher yesterday. It climbed again and hit a new all-time high. So the new all-time high was somewhere around here near the 16,000. Well, actually, let's round it up here, 16,150. Looking at the cash index right now, let me just quickly jump into that. So looking at the cash index, we can see that the price is actually near that all-time high. So if we're going to push again above this barrier, or not again, but if we're going to push above this 16,150 territory, then of course, yes, we'll continue aiming higher. But for now, of course, let's be very careful. Let's be very cautious. And this of course would place the index into uncharted territory, and the next maybe target could be somewhere around this 16,300 level. But again, let's go slowly on this one, step by step. For now, it is looking quite positive. In order to consider maybe a bit of a decline here, well, I would like to see maybe a break of this upside line first, and then consider, yes, lower levels. S&P 500. So this one pushed higher yesterday, however, failed to reach the current all-time high near the 4,718 level, and yep, it then kind of it's still kind of stalling somewhere around here. The cash index is sitting at around 4,683 level, so basically not, well, around the same level where it closed yesterday. So yeah, I mean, if we're looking for some upside, then certainly yes, a push above the 4,718 level would be a slightly safer option. Just because a nice good pop above it would place the would first of all would confirm a forthcoming higher high, would place the index into uncharted territory, and yep, the sky's the limit then for that one. For the downside, I would like to see a drop somewhere below this 4,635 level. And then we could consider maybe a bit of a larger correction here to the downside. DXY dollar index, so pushing nicely to the upside. So the area where it's kind of getting closer to, it's this lowest point of June of 2020 near the 95.72 level, and as you can see, yesterday we came close to testing that area, but just fell shy by a few points from reaching that. We are near this area right now. Like I said, this is going to be my next target, and then I'm going to see what it wants to do after. Of course, overall we can see that the index is trending higher right now. It's trading above this upside line here as well. So in a way, everything's looking quite positive. But if you're looking for maybe a bit of a corrective move here lower, I would rather stick to this little hurdle. Yesterday's low near the 94.97 territory. A nice good drop below it may lead to a bit of a larger correction to the downside towards this upside support line. Gold, so jumping into gold, and yeah, so for this one here, you can see that it stalled yesterday, and it's still stalling near this. Let me just grab a line, just excuse me for going blank there, guys. Need to had to clear my throat a little bit. So so basically the commodity managed to stall near this 1817 level, as you can see here. So it's still trading slightly below it. So if you're looking for some upside, of course, just to be a little bit more on the safe side, a push up of that 1870 territory might be ideal for a few more buyers. So long story short, for now, given of course that we already had quite a decent up move here, I would say be very careful. Maybe at some point we could get that little corrective move lower. However, if it stays somewhere above this 1845 territory, somewhere around here, then we might see another rebound and a pushback to the upside. But if you're a little bit on the cautious side, then yep, certainly wait for at least a push above this 1870 territory right here. For the downside, I would rather wait for a drop below this 1834 level, just to be kind of this level did act as a good area of resistance previously. Now it could take the role of support, but if it breaks, then this level marks the highest points of July and September. But if that gets broken and the price falls below it, then we could maybe consider a bit of a larger, well, a bit of a corrective move here towards the downside. A quick update on silver. So yeah, we're also seeing a bit of a retracement right now. So everything's kind of nice and healthy, I would say. We are still trading above this upside line as well, taken from the low of the 30th of September. So I would say this way, that if as long as it stays, for example, above this 24.87 territory, then yep, we'll remain, let's say, somewhat more positive with the near-term outlook, and we could aim for some higher levels. But if it starts falling somewhere below this 24.62 territory, at the same time it may also drop below this 200-day EMA, and then that could lead to a bit of a larger, I would say, correction to the downside. So be very careful with that, guys. Jumping into WTI oil, so this one is, I would say, a little bit of a mess here. So first of all, let's get rid of this line again. It came back. So for now, looking at this picture, you can see that it's climbing back above this 21-day EMA. However, at the moment, this 21-day EMA doesn't really carry much significance, just because you can see that the price keeps oscillating around it. What we rather stick to are some support and resistance levels. So in terms of the upside here, well, I would maybe start looking at higher levels if we at least get a push above this 83.40 zone. But even then, we need to be very careful because we do have this little tentative downside line which could play out nicely and could provide resistance. So that's why if you're very careful and cautious, then well, maybe even the 84.85 low could be a better option to wait for in order to see kind of higher levels. For the downside, certainly now if we're drawing all this here, you can see that we could end up being here with the if we end up being here with a triangle pattern, then of course then the break through the lower side of it, or let's put it this way, for now this is just an upside support line taken from the low of the 4th of November, so a nice good break below it may lead to some lower levels, guys. Bitcoin Cash, so nice little drop here as you can see, so a nice little inverted or not inverted, but the bearish flag here formed. So we had our pole here, this little consolidation, then a continuation move lower. So we had a nice test of this upside line. This is where the crypto is currently getting a hold up near this upside line taken from the low of the 27th of October, taken from the low of the 27th of October. Can this upside line continue to provide support? Well, we'll just have to wait and see, because at the moment, I mean, looking at it this way, if it stays above this upside line, then yes, we could still get a nice up move here higher. However, if you're a little bit more on the careful side, then maybe just a push back above this 685 territory, somewhere around here, would be needed just to get a little bit more comfortable, because don't forget that we're now having this downside line, which also could play out. So so yeah, let's be a little bit more on the careful side. If of course the crypto, this daily candle, the body of the daily candle stays below this upside line, then you could see maybe a bit of a larger correction here to the downside towards this upside line taken from the low of the 29th of September. ADJPY, guys, so let me just start fresh, because this is what we looked at previously. But actually, let me start fresh. Let me remove all the drawings here. And first of all, what we can see here is that we fell back below the 21-day EMA. We're currently trading below it. Today, we tried to overcome it and stay above it, but failed to do so. Of course, don't get me wrong, we still have a full day to go through. So yeah, let's see how that's going to play out. But at the moment, I would say if this 21-day EMA somehow continues to provide resistance, then maybe another slide could be possible. However, if you're a little bit on the careful side, on the cautious side, then well, certainly probably to wait for a drop below that 83 territory would be ideal. This, you can see that this is where a hold up occurred, and so currently this is the lowest point of November. So a nice good drop below it would confirm a forthcoming lower low, and our next target could be this 100-day EMA, or even this 200-day EMA. For the upside, well, and here I would say a push above this 84.50 level is needed, at least maybe just to be a little bit more on the careful side, and then yes, we could go for some higher levels. Of course, for some maybe this level could be a little bit lower. Maybe you could even look at today's high, so which is near this 84.17 level, but again, just to be maybe a little bit on the safe side, so wait for at least a push above this barrier instead. NZD USD, so I looked at this one previously, guys, and yeah, so here it was, you can see this is the moment where I said that wait for the pop above the 0.7218 level in order to get a little bit more comfortable with the upside. And this is exactly the reason why I said that, because we could we got this drop, we got this move lower, we broke below all of these trend lines here, and we currently are remaining below those trend lines. So as you can see, we had a few attempts to move higher, but unsuccessfully. Didn't stay above at least this downside line here, and yep, now to be honest, looking at this picture, it doesn't really paint a very positive one, unless of course it starts popping back above this upside line. This one here taken from the low, the 6th of October, and then yes, we could maybe consider a move higher, but at the moment it's not looking quite positive. Instead, um, it's the bears who seem to be in control here for now, and especially if they drop, if the pair drops below the 0.6997, or let's round it up here maybe towards the 70 level. If it drops below that, then well, I mean, lower levels could be met. Yep, good morning to Evu. Yep, sure, I can have a look at that one once I'll quickly run through all these, and then I'll jump into EuroCAD at the end. So basically, USDCHF here. We had a nice break of this downside line. We stayed above it. So as you can see, a while ago when I was covering this one, I was saying that if this downside line again provides resistance, then another slide might be possible. However, if that gets broken and we see the pair staying above this 0.9276 level, then well, higher levels could be met. And yep, as you can see, it continues to move nicely to the upside. Now here at this point, of course, we'll continue aiming higher slowly, step by step. For me right now, I would like to see a push above the current highest point of today, near the 0.9258 level. If that gets if we see the pair pushing above it, then yes, we'll go for some higher levels. Where my next target will be the high of the 12th of October near the 0.9313 zone. GBP Aussie, so this one's quite interesting because as you can see, for quite a while this downside line taken from the high of the 20th of September has been playing out nicely. It was doing its job in providing resistance. Today we're seeing a nice reversal, a nice good push higher. So yeah, we're breaking this downside line again. Can we stay above it? Well, we'll just have to wait and see here, because again, this one is a little bit on the tricky side. So I would, as long as it stays somewhere in this territory right here, I will, to be honest, I'll just observe the price action. I'm not going to do anything. But if it starts popping above this 1.8426 territory and then moves above this upside line as well, which is taken from the low of the 7th of January, then we could start slowly targeting the upside. But let's not forget that we do have another downside line here. So basically, if you can see, it could be a bit of a mess. So let's try to play it carefully, and yeah, let's consider all the things, all the lines here for now. But again, of course, if it breaks this downside line, then yes, of course, higher levels could be met. But at the moment, guys, it's the beginning of the day here in Europe, so can we see this one pushing higher? We'll just have to wait and see. But if by any chance it starts drifting back down here and stays below this downside line, then well, the downside scenario might not be off the table. EURUSD so continues to drift lower. So yep. Good move to the downside, fell below this 1.1422 zone. So yep, and now let's see where it could be heading next. Now, of course, one of the targets that I'm keeping an eye on here is this this 1.1169 level right here, marked kind of by the lowest point of June, if I'm not mistaken. Let me just double check this. No, sorry, that's the low of the 22nd of June of 2020. Certainly, we do have some obstacles on the before that on the way lower. Like for example, this one, the 1.1255, marked by the low the 10th of July of 2020. So in other words, for now, this is not looking good here for the bulls. However, unless this pair starts pushing back above this 1.1452 level right here, somewhere around here, then we might consider maybe a bit of a larger correction to the upside. Because the reason why I'm saying correction, because well, this is still trading below this downside line here. So guys, be very careful. The euro is not the strongest one right now, and yeah, and in case of the Okay, so this pair, we do have potential for a further move lower. Quickly on Euro CAD as requested. Let me just quickly jump into that one. So, okay, beautiful move lower. So just bear with me one moment. Let me just. So yeah, beautiful move to the downside, dropped, and one of the things that I've mentioned before, guys, if you remember when I said that wait for the body of at least for the body of the daily candle to stay above this 1.44 42 territory, and you can see exactly why, because we had a few false breakouts here, yes, and then it kind of sold off, and it started kind of just moving sideways here, consolidating, and well, I mean, eventually it kind of broke the lower side here, this barrier, the one that I talked about, the 1.4294. We broke below it, and this confirmed the forthcoming lower low. Not only that, actually, we broke the lowest point of February of actually 2020. So there we go, guys. I mean, we broke the lowest point of 2020, and we're still trading below it. So that doesn't look very good, of course. Now, given that this happened in the kind of the beginning, in the first half of this week, in the beginning of this week, let's see how this is going to play out, because what I'm curious now is how will the weekly candle shape up, because at the moment that's how it looks. I mean, yes, everything looks quite bearish, to be honest, and I would say like this: if it continues to trade below this lowest point of 2020, then well, the next target for me is the lowest point of April of 2017, and that's roughly around that 1.4053 territory. And then of course we'll slowly continue aiming lower, but again, that's in case the pair stays this week below this 1.4264 level. Yep. So so for now, basically, be very careful. Yes, at this point in time, everything's looking quite bearish. Let me just quickly double check something on the economic calendar, guys, because I do believe we do have some information coming out from Canada. Let me just quickly double check that. I think it was closer to the end of the week. Yes, that's correct. So the inflation figures are coming out on Thursday. The BOC financial system review as well. So yeah, okay. We do have some data coming out from Canada, so be very careful with that. That's mainly on Wednesday, if I'm not mistaken. Yep, that's on Wednesday. But on Friday, we also have the retail sales. So long story short, of course, keep your eyes on that, and that's what I'm saying. So, depending on how the data is going to come out there, and of course, and other factors, let's see how this is going to play out here. But for now, from the technical side, as long as it stays below this 1.4264 territory, I will continue aiming lower. So guys, that's it for this session. I hope you found it useful, and thank you very much for watching and listening. I really appreciate your time, guys, your views, your likes, your comments, really do so. Thank you for that. And yeah, if you want to catch me tomorrow morning, as always, at my Traders Espresso, 7 o'clock GMT time. For now, have a wonderful trading day, stay safe, and I'll see you later. Bye-bye.